Hey everyone, welcome to Bookish Daddy. Today I've got a good episode for y'all. First, I'd like to start off by saying thank you so much for all the subscriptions, the likes, the comments. It means the world to me. It really has been fun, and I look forward to getting to know all of you more. Uh, if you haven't yet subscribed, liked, or commented, go ahead and do all that good YouTube stuff. Click the button down below. Um, Today, I had a few people reach out throughout the week saying that they wanted me to do a bookshelf tour. So I've never done one before, and what I have is not very extensive or crazy. However, I do think it'll be fun to show you what books I have and kind of the setup. I'm still in the process of getting bigger bookshelves and more shelves and properly getting everything set up. But until then, I'll show you what I've got, and I'm excited about it. So let's go look. All right, everybody. So this is my largest bookshelf. We'll start with this one, and I'll start from the top and work my way down. The top shelf is going to be childhood books, Harry Potter and the Warrior series. They're basically what got me into fantasy as a child. I mean, everyone has probably read these, and they're phenomenal. If you go down to the next shelf, this is primarily fantasy with a little bit of sci-fi. Mainly my favorite sci-fi trilogy of all time, Darth Bane, and it is so good. I love the audiobook, the actual book. I've read it countless times. Right here you have Malice, which is a series by John Gwynne I'm wanting to get into. I haven't had the chance to yet. Mistborn is my favorite fantasy book trilogy of all time as well, so I guess this has a lot of my favorites. Patrick Rothfuss, Name of the Wind, would be one of my favorite series if he had actually finished it. So it is so well written, and then I've been waiting for the third book for 12 years, and it just hasn't happened. The Hobbit, Guard, staples in huge universes that have changed fantasy. Book of the Sith, another sci-fi that has to do with Darth Bane, so I'm a little obsessed with him. The next row, some special editions of Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn. Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson is so good. I've done a video on that. This is the one I'm wanting to read next. Wizard's Handbook, or The Frugal Wizard's Handbook by Brandon Sanderson. We have Rebecca Yaros's The Fourth Wing series. I actually got the special editions. I went to the midnight release, so that was actually really fun. Hectic but fun. Next, we have a bunch of Sarah J. Maas. Really everything that I've read of hers. So ACOTAR and the Throne of Glass series, which, as you know, I'm on Towers of Dawn still, trying to finish through these bad boys. The next row is, again, it's all fantasy with one romance, which Bride I loved. It's so good. But a lot of these are just TBRs that I haven't picked up. So my wife loves the Caraval series. I want to get into them eventually. I just haven't had the time. Crescent City, I am not ready for. So that's by Sarah J. Maas. I think after Throne of Glass, I'm going to take a huge Sarah J. Maas break and delve into some of these smaller books. Some that I'm like dying to read on here would be the Inheritance games, For the Wolf, mainly because I just love the cover, and then Daughter of the Pirate King. I am really looking forward to reading, and that's pretty much it for this shelf. All right, so now we're at my little bookshelf. At the top is my wife's favorite series, Throne of Glass, and this is her favorite covers. So this is her pride and joy, are these beautiful books. She's who got me into Sarah J. Maas, and she treasures these. The next row, these are actually from my wife's childhood, the Twilight series. I've seen the movies, and I love them. So does she. So that's something we really bond on, especially like if it's a rainy day, we'll throw on Twilight or read Twilight. We're both huge into vampires and werewolves, so that's kind of where those come in. The rest of these, I believe, are fantasy. Most of these are my wife's favorites. I love the covers of these. So ones like this book, To Kill a Shadow, I thought was beautiful. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia for Fairies or of Fairies is beautiful. And V.E. Schwab is another author I am just dying to get into their books, but I have not had the chance. We go down to the next row. It is all romance, which, as you all know, I have not got the chance to really delve into. But I have read the one by Ali Hazelwood, so I'm excited to read these two, The Love Hypothesis and Love on the Brain. And if I had to pick a couple more from here that I've heard great things about, I want to read Happily Never After and Dungeons and Drama. My wife loved this one, and it seems super cozy and just like a really fun read. So those are the ones on the romance side I think I'm going to delve into first, and I'm pretty excited about it. This bottom row is kind of hectic. It's thrillers, a random book, tomorrow that just fit there. And then these are just no rhyme or reason. They're just there. I don't know much about any of these books. I guess if I had to pick, the only one or two on here that I want to read is The House Across the Lake and The Housemaid. I have read about The Housemaid on the back of the book, and it sounds like a really good starter for a thriller. It seems not too crazy, so I think that's kind of how I'm going to get into thrillers. And that's pretty much it for the little bookshelf. So I'll take you to the last one. All right, so this is the final card of books. This one is, I guess I would describe it as my next to read TBR. So these are the ones I'm wanting to get into like ASAP, or we're wanting to get into ASAP. On this top shelf, we have The Empire of the Vampire. Is probably the most anticipated for me on my TBR. It sounds perfect. I love vampires, I love fantasy, and the cover on this one is beautiful, and I've heard nothing but like 4.5 to 5-star ratings. Heartless Hunter is supposed to be insanely good as well. I think other countries it's known as the something moth, Crimson Moth, I believe. And so we have a special edition in the US, but I like the other countries better, honestly. It's super pretty. Dark Rise is another book that I am super excited to read. I can't wait to get into this series. The One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns is another one of my huge wanna-reads. John Gwyn's series, The Hunger of the Gods. Again, I've never read John Gwyn. I have Malice up there, but Malice and these I'm wanting to dive into too. I just have so many books I got to get to. The next row, we have The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah, City of Dusk by Tara Sim. So you may not have heard of this because I didn't, but I saw the cover and felt it had that like velvety texture and was super floppy. And so I went ahead and read the back. And it says, for every realm there's a god, for every god there's an heir, and for every heir there's a price. And the more I read about it on the back, the better it sounded. So that one I'm super excited to read, even though I don't know much about it. The Cruel Prince trilogy is, again, it's way up there on my list of to reads. We have Howl's Moving Castle, which is supposed to be super cozy. Kind of an anime type book, if I remember right. Once Upon a Broken Heart is another one of my wife's favorite series that I am hoping to read eventually. Gothic Kana, I got purely based off the sprayed edges and the cover of the book. So I don't know if you can see it there. I don't want to try and dig it out. Ruthless Vows and Divine Rivals. My wife loved this series as well. I have not got to read it, but I'm super curious to see what it's about. I'm not sure if I'm going to like it or not. I'm kind of iffy on it. And then the final row is another trilogy I'm wanting to get into, the Shadow and Bone trilogy. So the Defy the Night and Destroy the Day, the second one's missing because that's what my wife is currently reading. And the way she is like just devouring these books, I'm assuming they are extremely good. I'm excited about reading them. Six Crimson Cranes is another one I got for the cover. And it is another one that sounded so good to read. And the more I looked into like ratings on it and about it, the more I wanted to read it. The Magician's Daughter. This one says a young woman's caught between two worlds in H.G. Perry's spellbinding tale of miracles, magic, and an island that might have been. Sounds very mysterious and fun to read. So another one on my TBR. Butcher and Blackbird will be my first dive into dark romance. My wife gave it a pretty decent rating, nothing too high, but she's pretty iffy on whether I'll like it or not. We'll see. And then Icebreaker is another romance I am wanting to read. And Deal with an Elf King is another beautiful cover of a book that's all like, when a book's like all velvety, I love books like that. And this one says the elves come for two things, war and wives. In both cases, they come for death. And this one, I've heard if you like Sarah J. Maas that you'll like this series. So I'm actually really excited to read this because I am a fan. And then the last ginormous book just had pre-sprayed edges, and I'm not sure I know anything about it. That is all the books I have up here. I think there may be a few scattered around the house. That does it for my bookshelf tour. I'm hoping to get some bookshelves on the walls and then two bigger bookcases to put on either side of the dresser. And I've always got tons and tons of books I want to buy. So eventually I'll expand it. We'll get a bigger library in here and I'll be able to do an at-home library video. So also I was going to add in, if there are any of these books that are like your favorite books and you think I should move them up higher on my TBR, make sure you let me know, because I do put a lot of thought into what I'm going to read next. I'm not so much of a mood reader as a what's going to be the most fun. So if you love any of these books or are really curious to see what I think about them, because I do book reviews, throw it in the comments. Throw in the comments what you think I should read next, or which ones are your favorite, or which ones I should add to my bookshelf if it's like a must read, and I'll get around to it. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sorry it was such a short video and it wasn't too like crazy, but I am glad you stopped in to watch it. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure if you did, you subscribe, you like, you comment, really any engagement. I like hearing from y'all and getting to know you better. And I have really been enjoying this channel and its growth. And I hope that we get bigger together. So y'all have a great day, great week, and I'll holler at you next week.